Alright, so here's Jacob. I'll watch you through a couple of times, Jacob, so we can kind of get an idea of what we're looking at. Okay, you do some things that you're doing really well, and we want to right now want to start with anything that might be limiting velocity in any way, or possibly leading to injury, whether it's just a sore arm or definitely a damaged arm. We want to avoid those things. So first time I look through here, I'm looking for velocity killers and anything that could lead to injury of the arm. So as we look, there are a couple of things. Okay, your initial leg movement is pretty good. I like how you really load into that back leg. One of the things, if you remember one of the drills we did the wall drill where excuse me, let me get a line here. We look at this back hip as if that's the wall. So we imagine going into our load there. You do a good job initially of getting away from the wall, but notice how the arm really flies back behind that. Okay, so one of the things we see you getting into, if we look at the upper body, and you'll hear if you look into pitching research, you'll hear the term inverted W. Okay, because of the way your hand's on the ball, it's not on top of the ball. If your hand were on top of the ball, you would see kind of this elbow up here and this elbow up here. The position you're in now is basically the inverted W. It's just the fact that your hand got underneath and behind the ball that you see your arm straight like that. So you imagine if you bent the elbow in this position, see how high the elbow is getting. That's putting us in that position that's going to lead to problem, and I'll show you exactly where that problem occurs is when we come forward in that position. So say all that to say you're getting the arm up way too early. Okay, so from this position, you're going to see your shoulder kind of bounce down. See that little movement right there with the shoulder? Okay, that's called internal adduction, meaning the shoulder is beginning to try to rotate towards the front, towards the body. When we get that degree of internal rotation there with the shoulder, not only are we straining the muscles in the shoulder capsule, but that's one of the things we look for when we're looking for UCL, Tommy John type injuries to the elbow. This is one of the causative factors, is that amount of internal adduction we see in the shoulder there. So that's one thing we want to work with you on improving, and believe it or not, it's not an upper body fix. Okay, it's like I was telling some of the guys the other day, when we have a problem up here, the cause of the problem is probably down here. So we're looking at an upper body issue, and like I say, you do a great job of loading into that back leg right there. Okay, that's phenomenal. The problem with that, Jacob, is you're getting here, and I want you to watch how at that moment your back hip really stops moving towards home plate. Okay, so once you reach that point, which is absolutely phenomenal, really all you do with the back leg from here is just kind of start rotating. So you see the front leg starting to take over, and back hips really just kind of stops and starts opening up at that point. Okay, and your body's going to mirror itself. In other words, what the front leg does, the back arm's going to try to do. So as soon as that front leg starts swinging towards home plate, the back arm starts swinging away. What we want to do is, as you see that back hip moving, oops, I don't want to circle there. Okay, as we see the back hip moving in that direction, ideally we want the hip to keep moving, okay, without this front leg flying out. If the longer we can keep that front leg with our body, the easier it is going to be to keep that arm down in this area, okay, which is what we're trying to do. Remember when we did that wall drill, we're trying to not let the ball hit the wall right there, or our hand. Okay, we're trying to get far enough away from the wall that doesn't happen. Okay, so basically all you're doing is squatting on this leg, and at least you're doing it in the right direction. That's a good thing. Okay, a lot of guys are just completely straight up and straight down. Okay, you're starting off in the right direction, and then you're stopping and allowing your front leg, front hip to take over the rotational phase. Okay, what that's doing is, you're not in horrible position. Ideally, what I would love to see is when you're in this position with the foot, okay, when we get to landing here, I'm trying to do a circle. When we get to landing here, I would love to see your arm almost in this position, okay? So in other words, the elbow is great, but let's rotate the forearm down, okay? And we'll talk more about that this week, but really that starts here, okay? And again, that is caused by the front hip. We'll work on the arm action a little bit. I don't think we'll have to spend a whole lot of time, focusing and thinking about arm, because I think once we get this back hip moving a little better, I think you're going to see that the arm is something you don't even have to think about. Last thing I want to talk about real quick, and us moving and driving off the back leg instead of the front hip will help this as well. When we look at your foot drag right here, okay, I want you to notice how it kind of bounces. So you get all the way, your shoelaces are on the ground right there, knee curls up underneath, and then it's going to pop up. See that? Okay, so you're skidding along and then it pops up. That pop up is simply the hips trying to rotate around a collapsed front side, and you'll see what I mean in just a second. So you get to landing, okay, in an ideal situation, we are completely stable once we land, okay? So that lands and it sticks. Second thing we hope to see at that point is the hips, the back hip, rotate around the front hip at this point. You're going to see what happens with you as we get landing, and instead of the back hip being able to rotate, you're going to see, and I'll draw a line this way as well, okay? So there's your leg, and watch what happens is it's going to not only go forward a little bit more, but it's going to sink down. Okay, so we get there, and we kind of collapse down a little bit. Okay, so we're creeping forward and then we're collapsing. Okay, and that's when we see the hip kind of popping straight up instead of around. See the back hip popping straight up. We want to be stable enough that we can rotate around delivering the baseball. So a couple of things we're going to really spend time this week on is getting you to a solid landing. If you remember, the one drill we did was the bowler pose, okay, where we really stick that landing and allow our hips to rotate around. That's going to help whip the arm, pull the arm through much faster and hopefully much safer. The thing that's going to speed the arm up or get the arm more in the right position is not allowing that back hip to stop moving forward at this point. So we go there and we just keep going sideways, keep going. Now we drive the backside open, okay, so that we're landing something like that, but with the back hip turned to that degree. Okay, so just a little timing thing. I think we can fix that. I think that's going to take care of the arm action issues. And other than that, you move pretty fast, so you got some good tools to work with here. So hopefully that helps. I'll look forward to seeing you this week, and we'll try to clean up some of these little things. All right.